Hello, everyone. This is Jesse Guzman with Concentrus, and I am here to show you today how to create a custom field specifically on an entity record, what we're going to do, but you'll see the process can be replicated amongst the different types of records. And what we're going to do here, what I've got here on the screen for you, is a customer that I've created called Jesse's Bait Shop. And it turns out that we're going to pretend that new legislation has passed and all bait shops need to have a reseller's license on file. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new field here called a bait reseller number. And if you notice here, we actually already have some um, custom fields that were created for this particular account, ADA number and California dentist license number. Both of those are custom fields, but we're going to go ahead and show you how to do this. Now, there are a number of ways to do the same thing in NetSuite, as you know. I'm going to show you one path. There are multiple paths to it. One thing to say is you do need to have permission to um, to create custom fields, and you do need to have permission across multiple different record types. So you may have a permission for one record type, but not another. In this case, I'm logged in as admin, so we won't have a problem creating the custom field. Now we'll start with customization. We go to list records and fields. And if you notice, there are quite a few different options here. We're not going to worry about records or lists at this point. Um, we do have entity fields, item fields, CRM fields. Those are pretty straightforward. There are also transaction body fields. This is what you'll see on, for example, a sales order, an invoice, a transaction, and then line fields is actually at the line level. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to do entity fields. So I'm going to go ahead and click on entity fields first. We won't go into new, but obviously if you want to go ahead and create a new one, you just click on new right away. And you'll notice in this demo account, what we do have is we have quite a few custom fields that were created: annual revenue, company size, product interest, etc. And you can tell they are custom fields because of the ID here, custom entity 8, for example, on that one. Go ahead and click new to get this process started. Okay. Label, what do you want it called, right? So we're going to call this bait reseller number. Now, ID, very important that you practice good ID naming convention. NetSuite, as you saw on the previous screen, will always put a prefix at the beginning of a custom entity record or any type of record to identify what it is. So we always start a record by using the underscore and then what we want to call it. So in this case, I'm call it bait reseller number. And what NetSuite will do is it's going to add a custom entity prefix here, and then this will be custom bait reseller number. Reason we do this, you don't have to do it, it's not required, but we do this so that if you are ever using these fields in any kind of scripting, it's a lot easier to see, oh, this is my bait reseller number field versus having to figure out some random number that's generated. Best practice is always to put some kind of description here so that anybody in the future can know what to do with this field. So enter the CA bait reseller number. Okay. Now, the next important part here to make a decision on is the type. NetSuite has a few different types of fields that you can put on. You can put a checkbox, which is usually when you want to just, if it's like a yes or no, true or false type scenario, you want to do that. Obviously, currency, you can do date and time fields, decimal numbers, document fields, email address fields. Obviously, all of these have different formats that they'll follow or require you to follow. Freeform text, help, hyperlinks, images, all kinds of things that you can do. So a lot of options. You can read more on these on Suite Answers. What we're going to do for this particular one is we're going to do a free form text field. We're not going to go into any kind of advanced sourcing, filtering, or validation with workflows. We're just going to make it free form. Basically means you can type in whatever you want. So if it's wrong, but this is where you would enter the information. So when you do that, you'll notice that the list and record option grays out. If I select list or record, it opens up. what this does, it lets me choose from a list of options. That's how you would create a drop-down list. And you can create one associated to a record itself. We won't do that here. We're just going to go ahead and create a free-form text field. And then what you want to just make some decisions is, do you want to store the value onto the record? In this case, we do. There's sometimes that you're just entering information. You don't need it to be stored on the record. So you go ahead and you uncheck that. Most of the time I see people use store value, whether you want to use encrypted and whether you want to show this in a list. Okay. Also, whether you want to make this available for global search. In this case, let's make it available for global search. Okay. The applies to is very important. This will determine the type of record you're going to allow this form to be applied to. In this case, we're talking about customers, but let's say this was something that was important even at the vendor level, contact, etc. You can select which ones you want it to go on, and you'll use the same field on those records. It's important for you to know ahead of time how you're going to want to use it and where it's important. This will be available to any entity record. The next tab is the display tab. Insert before, you notice, is this can tell you where you want to put it before. And these are all fields that you have on your customer record already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this in. I'm going to leave this blank for now, but I'm going to say the sub-tab, I wanted to make sure that this is on my main sub-tab. And the sub-tabs are what you see here on the customer record. So obviously they're all there. You can do some customization of the display width. We're going to leave it as just a standard width. I won't change that for now, but you can play with that there. And this is very important. Help, this is what's going to pop up when you click on the field to get help on what it's for. So this is where you can say contact an administrator and make changes. But in this case, we're just going to copy and paste the description. And then we can put something, contact your administrator and make changes to this field. So now we know that this is a custom field. There are a lot of other options that you have. We can go into more advanced. We're going to talk high level here, but you can do validation and defaulting of values. You could have it pull from specific sources. Here, if you have a source list and where you want to pull information from that goes into that field. And then you can also restrict access to different roles and even department subsidiaries. And obviously, if you have some translation services are enabled in your environment, you can also play with those there. So we're going to go ahead and just leave this as is, and we're going to go ahead and save it. You notice there was a button there that said apply to forms. You also have the option to apply this to particular forms and add others, but in this case, we're going to apply it all the way through. Let's go to our customer record here. And what we do see down here under classification, we see a bait reseller number. Obviously, we're not in edit mode, so let me open this in edit mode, and you'll see what we'll be able to do here. Okay. It is now open. You see we didn't play with the width, so it's the same size as the other ones. And we can put a bait reseller form of CON123 and go ahead and click save. And there you have it. There is a bait reseller number on this customer that we've added on. And in a future video, we will show you also how to clean up this and any other kind of form. Ideally, if you'd want to move this up to the primary information in different ways that you can change the layout of your page. Thank you for watching this video. That's it for now.